The rain fell like silver needles through the dim morning light, turning the cracked pavement of the old alleyway into rivers of cold, murky water. A girl, no older than 20, crouched beneath a cardboard shelter she had built against the brick wall of an abandoned store. Her hair was soaked, her fingers trembling from the November chill, and yet, she didn't move, not even when thunder shook the sky above her. She was staring at something, a small, shivering creature dragging itself through the puddles. A golden retriever, muddy, limping, and frightened. It collapsed right in front of her cardboard box, breathing fast, its wet fur sticking to its ribs. If you believe kindness and second chances can change lives, take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Echoes of Kindness, because what you're about to hear will remind you that compassion can come from the most unexpected places. The girl's name was Marina Lowe. She hadn't always lived on the streets. Just a year ago, she was a nursing student with dreams of helping others, until her mother's sudden illness swallowed every dollar she had. After losing her mother and her home, Marina found herself drifting between park benches and alley corners, surviving on scraps and small miracles. She carried her mother's old scarf everywhere, a faded blue one, the only thing that still smelled faintly of home. That morning, when she saw the golden retriever lying helpless in the rain, something inside her stirred. It wasn't pity, it was recognition. The same loneliness, the same abandonment. She crawled out from under her makeshift shelter and knelt beside the trembling animal. "Hey, buddy, it's okay," she whispered softly, her breath fogging in the cold air. The dog opened its eyes weakly, tail flicking once before it whimpered in pain. Marina wrapped her scarf around it, ignoring the cold soaking through her thin clothes. She held the animal close to her chest, feeling its heartbeat falter against hers. For the next hour, she did everything she could. She used her last bit of change to buy warm milk from a corner shop and fed it to the dog in the alley. She rubbed its fur dry with her own coat and whispered words of comfort like she used to do for her mother in the hospital. When night came, she curled up beside it under her torn blanket, listening to the rain fade into silence. By dawn, the dog was resting peacefully. Its eyes, once clouded with fear, now followed Marina wherever she moved. She named him Lucky, though she wasn't sure which of them was luckier to have found the other. She spent the day searching for scraps, always saving half for him. When he limped, she carried him. When he barked softly, she smiled for the first time in months. What Marina didn't know was that Lucky wasn't just any stray. He belonged to Adrian Voss, a well-known CEO who had built one of the largest tech companies in the city. Adrian was the kind of man who rarely had time for emotions. His life revolved around meetings, deadlines, and decisions that moved millions of dollars. But when his dog, Lucky, went missing during a weekend trip, Adrian felt a kind of emptiness he couldn't explain. Lucky had been his only true companion after losing his wife years ago. For 3 days, Adrian had sent teams to search the city, posters, social media alerts, even a reward, but the storm had washed away most leads. The next morning, as the city basked in weak daylight after the storm, Marina woke up to the sound of soft footsteps approaching the alley. Lucky's ears perked up, and before she could react, he struggled to his feet and began to bark joyfully. Marina turned around, startled, as a tall man in a dark coat stepped closer, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Lucky," he breathed. The dog limped forward, tail wagging furiously despite his injuries. Adrian knelt down, tears filling his eyes as Lucky buried his face against his chest. Marina stood quietly, unsure what to do. She felt both relieved and hollow. She had grown attached to the creature in just a single night. Adrian looked up, finally noticing her, this thin, weary girl standing barefoot in the cold, clutching her worn-out blanket. "You found him?" he asked, voice thick with emotion. Marina nodded slowly, her voice barely above a whisper. "He was in the rain. I just couldn't leave him there." Adrian glanced at the scarf around Lucky's neck, the blue one, now soaked and frayed. He noticed how gently she looked at his dog, how her eyes carried the weight of someone who had seen too much loss. "You saved him," he said softly. "Thank you." He reached into his coat pocket, pulling out his wallet. "Please, let me give you something for what you did." But Marina stepped back. "No, sir," she said quickly. "He's yours." "That's enough." Adrian froze. In his world, everyone took money. Everyone wanted something. But this girl, this homeless stranger, had chosen kindness over reward. Something about her sincerity unsettled him. He asked where she was staying, and she simply pointed to the corner of the alley, where the cardboard sheets leaned against the wall. "Here," she said simply. "It's dry when the wind's not too strong." For the rest of the day, Adrian couldn't stop thinking about her. He had seen hundreds of people in need before, but there was something in Marina's eyes, something unbroken, even after everything, that haunted him. That evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, he told his driver to stop by the same alley. Marina was still there, sitting quietly with a small cup of tea someone had given her. She looked up, startled again, when a familiar voice said, "Marina, right?" She blinked, unsure how he even knew her name. Adrian smiled faintly. "I found your name on the tag inside the scarf. It's beautiful, it must have meant something to you." Her eyes filled instantly. "It was my mom's," she whispered. "I gave it to Lucky so he'd stay warm." Adrian nodded slowly. "You gave up something precious for someone you didn't even know." He hesitated for a moment, then extended his hand. "I was hoping you'd come with me. Not as charity, but as thanks." Marina looked confused. "Go, where?" "To my company. I run Voss Technologies. I could use someone like you in our community outreach department. We help shelters and hospitals." "You have compassion that can't be taught," Adrian said quietly. "And I think you deserve a chance." Tears streamed down Marina's face before she could stop them. She didn't remember the last time someone had offered her anything without pity. The next morning, for the first time in a year, she stood under a hot shower in a small apartment Adrian's team had arranged for her. She looked at her reflection, her hair clean, her skin glowing again under warm light, and barely recognized the girl staring back. In the weeks that followed, Marina started working at the foundation office of Voss Technologies. She organized food drives, visited shelters, and spent her weekends volunteering at the animal rescue center Adrian had helped fund. Lucky, now fully healed, would often sit beside her desk, his head resting on her lap while she worked. Every time she saw him, she remembered that rainy morning, the night that changed her life. Adrian watched her transformation quietly. He admired how she treated everyone with warmth and humility, never seeking recognition. One day, during a company charity event, a reporter asked Adrian what had inspired the new outreach program that had begun helping hundreds of homeless people across the city. Adrian simply looked across the room at Marina, who was laughing softly with a group of volunteers. "It started," he said, "with a girl who gave up her only scarf to save someone else's friend. Months passed, and Marina became a key figure in the company's humanitarian efforts. She built partnerships with animal shelters and rehabilitation centers. The once forgotten girl from the alley was now standing on stage, speaking to hundreds about the power of kindness. Her voice trembled slightly as she said, "Sometimes, all it takes to change a life is one small act of love. That day, I thought I was saving a dog, but maybe he was saving me."